Warning. This podcast may contain spoilers from whatever TV show or movie is mentioned. Please listen at your own discretion. Welcome to Viewers Anonymous.
What's going on, everybody? I am Scoots Bronson.
And I'm S. Foster.
And you are listening to the Viewers Anonymous podcast. What's going on, bro?
Hey, man, I'm just chilling, man. I was just sitting here looking at a movie that I forgot about, but, could be possibly something down the line, but I don't know. Who knows? But, man, I am – look, we were sitting here doing our damn pre-production, man. It's like, man, You got you got me going, bud. I forgot about what we was about to do.
Man, listen, I when I watched that shit, bro, I told you I was sitting there. I was up at like 1 something watching that shit. Like, damn, man, that shit was good. But how everything been going since the last episode, man?
Yo, man, it's been wild, man. Like, I'm still taking in the week, man. Like, I was talking about on the last episode, Uncle Washington was finally back. So, the old band back together as far as the Stolen Time podcast. And, and I was telling him about some of the things that's been happening as far as, talking to you, talking to Casey, and also messaging with Candace and stuff like that. And, saying some of the things she's saying and it's been cool, man, to be able to show the love. And like, even for somebody who don't even know us, I sent you the message this morning, and for her to sit back and be like, I love how y'all are able to give each other, flowers, to be able to let you know how I feel about this and this and that, letting Casey know how I feel about this and that, and y'all returning the favor back to me. So I never looked at myself as a person to inspire or put inspiration in anybody or anything like that. I come on these pods, I give it everything I got. My thing is, no matter is this podcast, the 28 Minutes or Less podcast, or the Stolen Time podcast, like, I want somebody to take something away from what I said. Hopefully I'm giving great insight as far as these movies. So it's been a very interesting week, man, as far as for me. But for you though, you've been dealing with sinus infection. You know what I'm saying? You sound better today. So
yeah, man.
last two episodes, man, you fought your way through it, man. You fought your way through it.
Yeah, man. I messed around, man, and caught a sinus infection, and it's partially due to my job because we work around like we work in like a factory type building, and then we make like composite materials and shit. So we be having to drill and sand and cut and saw and all that stuff, and that shit get real dusty. And so, like, that shit always flying in the air, and everywhere you go is dust everywhere, man. Like, that's probably one of the dustiest places I've ever worked at. So it's like, right now we at work and we got to wear the masks and all that kind of stuff. But, it helped, but it really don't. So, I caught that sinus infection, been taking Sudafed like crazy. And I've been, like I told you, I've been hawking up loogies, man, for like the last 3-4 days. Then turn around, man, and I don't know what's going on. I think that the universe is trying to tell me something, man. It's trying to tell me slow down and sit down or something. Because now my knee messed up, and I can't even bend my knee, man. So I've been hobbling around for the last couple of days, looking like I came out from a tragic injury.
I'm gonna tell you what it is, man, because I got you by what 3 years, dude.
Yeah.
Man. Hey, it's coming.
That's not true, man. Listen,
I'm telling
you, when you're in your 30s, you're supposed to be in your prime, man. That's not true. We gotta quit telling our people. We gotta quit telling each other that, man. You don't get old till you get to like 70.
nah, like it's really it's a funny age, man, because like I'm pretty sure. Well, I mean, I don't know about parents, but like my parents was like, you know, growing up, when you start to figuring out age, you know, ages and stuff like that, majority of the time your parents are in their 30s, and you're looking at it as a kid like, oh man, my people old, man. You know, like you look at it like they old, and it's like now we're parents and we're in our 30s, and it's like, well, I mean, I ain't old, like shit. Like,
see, yeah, man, I know, man. My that's funny, man. My youngest son, he told me that, man. We was talking, and I had asked him something, and I said, "What you doing, man?" He was talking about a game on his phone. And he was showing me a game on his phone, and I was like, man, I said, that look complicated, man. I was like, I don't understand how you play that. And he just hit me with one like, yeah, Dad, because you old. And I just looked at him like, fam, I play Xbox all the time. Like, I'm not old, man. I'm still out here living life, baby. And he was just like, nah, Dad, you old, man. I'm like, oh, okay. So, you know, to him, it probably seemed like I done lived a lifetime. And I'm like, nah, man, I still got a lot of living to do, man.
Oh, yeah, for sure, man. You know, it was so funny, man. I was listening to, and I was telling my old lady about this. I was listening to, I reference this a lot because, like I said, I listen to the show every day because it's a radio show. I was listening to Ebro in the morning, and they got on the subject of, if your girl or your dude or whatever that you with, if y'all don't have the same taste in like music or TV or anything like that, that was like, it could, you know, potentially be a no-go. And so Rosenberg was saying how, you know, him and his girl had not a huge problem, but they had a problem because she didn't know about certain hip hop and, you know, and stuff like that. And Ebro was like, yo, I'm gonna be real with you, B. He was like, I straight broke up with a girl because of her taste in music was so bad. And I was like, I'm gonna be that serious. But I was telling her, because like we got some music similar, but I'm more, you know, I'm more spread out. Like I'm even when we was doing that music episode, like you can tell like we was very well rounded in music. Like we listened to rock music, you know what I'm saying, all that type shit. So she didn't really do all that, but she's really more gospel than anything. But like even when it comes to movies, like I was telling you, she haven't seen a lot of movies that I've seen. She think I'm like nuts about how many movies I've seen. And I say that to say this. Like when I was listening to them, I was like, I get it. I was like, I get what they're saying. But I got an avenue where I can come on here with you and I can express all the things that I want to express that I don't have to do with her. So it's like, if I didn't do this, oh no, I'd be like, yo, like
it'll be some problems.
you gotta jump on this wave, yo. You gotta jump on this wave, because I'm telling you, like I told you before, I think I even said it on the pod. I did say it on the pod. I was about to kick her out. I was about to kick her out of my apartment when she was talking shit about the last dragon. I was like, yo, like you gotta chill, man.
That's
like,
a no-no. That's a no-no. See, man, my wife is kind of the same way. Like she when she was growing up, like her mom had her like heavy into like all the kind of after school activities. So she was always like in a sport, or she was always in some kind of, you know what I'm saying, like function or doing something. And so for me, like I played sports and did, you know, stuff too. But like I always, you know what I'm saying, like I still had time to like watch movies and watch TV and stuff like that. Because, you know what I'm saying, like that's something me and my mom would always do. Like we would, you know, kick it and watch movies and everything like that. And she was telling me like with her, like when growing up, she didn't watch a lot of movies or like watch a lot of TV. So it's stuff that like I would watch that she's never heard of. Like she's never seen like The Wiz. She's never seen, or like she ain't never seen The Last Dragon until I started watching it. Like she never seen like The Godfathers, The Casinos, you know what I'm saying, like classic movies. she's never seen these joints. Or like I'll be sitting up watching Martin because like they show 5 or 6 episodes of Martin on BET, and it'll be like she'll be at the table doing her homework, and then I'll be sitting on the couch watching Martin, and then she'll be looking like, "How are you laughing at that? Like that's not even funny." And I just look at her like what? What do you mean? And she like, that's really not that funny. I'm like, oh no. I said, see. I said, you done been deprived for too long, man. I said, you done been deprived. I said, your mom didn't do you right. I said, she deprived you of all this greatness that's on TV right now, man. So it's a bunch of stuff. Like she used to try to get me to watch like Medea movies. And like I'm not a huge fan of watching like Tyler Perry movies.
Man. My old girl's the same way.
Yeah.
Dude, she sits there and watch. She want to get on me for watching a lot of the movies like over and over again, but she'll sit there and keep watching The House of Pain. And then the crazy part is, she don't even like the newer ones. She keeps watching the old seasons. Like, how you gonna get on me for watching the same movies when you keep watching the same episodes of House of Pain?
My wife was she does the Love and Hip Hops, the Keeping Up with the Kardashians, the Housewife shows. She watches all that. So for me, it's like when she watching that, it's like, oh, it's time for me to go to another room, or it's time for me to play the Xbox because I can't get into that kind of stuff. But like I try to get her into watching like the old episodes of In Living Single. What else? Trying to get her to watch like for me, I like My Wife and Kids that come on TV still. So I try to get her to watch that. She won't watch that. She don't think My Wife and Kids is really funny. Or what's the King of Queens? That's my joint. And she don't even think that's funny. And I'm like, how do you not think that Doug Heffernan is funny? Like Doug Heffernan is one of the funniest men to ever be on TV. And it's just like, I don't get her, man. We've been together for going on 14 years, man, and I still do not understand that woman.
Damn, hey, I understand, man, and congratulations on that, man. I didn't know it's been that long.
I appreciate it, man. Yeah, she baffles me, man.
I understand. So, man. I was in one of those, man. Like I pulled 12 years with my boy's mom, man.
Yeah, I still don't understand women, man. As much as I think I like to say I do, I don't get them.
No, me neither. But still love y'all. But man, like this is gonna be an interesting episode, man, because I was talking to you beforehand because I was like, if I asked the person, I was like, I don't know much about the person as much as I know about his work. So, and I was asking you before we started, like, how necessarily we're going to do this. So we went over it, but don't know much about the person. But man, talking about, we have done 4 of his movies, right? Yeah. We've done 4. We've done 4. Yeah, we've done 4 of his movies already. If you are an avid listener of this podcast, you probably already know what we're talking about. Man, we're talking about Christopher Nolan.
Yes, sir.
We feel like as a producer, as a director, as a writer, he is a person that he hit the ground running, man. Like the movies that he have are just second to none. I love the way he shoots films. Like I said at the end of the last podcast, he has been nominated for 5 Oscars. He has won 137 awards and been nominated for 223. Like he is
crazy.
Yeah, like it is crazy. But when you look at his catalog, though, you get it. You know what I'm saying? You get why he's been nominated and won as much as he have. And like the movie that I wanted to start with, and I didn't know that he did this. I just remember watching this movie a lot, and it had one of my favorite actors in it, Al Pacino. It had Robin Williams in it. Robin Williams played a a serious role. You know, he played like this creepy guy, and he did Insomnia, and I had no idea he did Insomnia. Mm-hmm. And like Insomnia, man, it was a great movie, man. Al Pacino, you know, him and Robin Williams, they killed it. And the concept of the movie, like, I was about to say Robert De Niro. Al Pacino was a cop who ended up killing this person. Oh, Hilary Swank was in that joint too. I forgot she was in there because she worked for the what do you call it? The police department up in was it Alaska? I bet it was in Alaska.
I've never seen Insomnia.
You never seen Insomnia? Oh man,
no sir,
dude, like Al Pacino is called that because Insomnia is like, you know, can't really sleep, and he couldn't sleep. When they went up to Alaska, I believe, because you know it's a time period where it don't get dark, so he couldn't never sleep because it was always light outside. But Al Pacino got caught into some stuff because see what it was, he was chasing down somebody, and he shot the person, but he tried to say that the dude had did something wrong. I can't remember exactly what it was, but Robin Williams saw what happened, but he wrote in the report that something else happened. So like this whole time, he's trying to chase down Robin Williams, and because Robin Williams saw what what he didn't want anybody else to see. So it was like this whole little mouse and cat race type thing, like where they're chasing each other down and all this type of stuff. And Hilary Swank was like basically like the rookie cop trying to do everything by the book and all this type of stuff. It ended up being a really, really good film, dude. And I did not know that he was the director of it, but it came out in 2002. I mean, shit, I was a junior in high school. I didn't pay attention to shit like that when I was younger. So I was really surprised to see that he done this movie, man.
Yeah, man. For me, one of the movies I'd like to point to is Man of Steel. You know, we get a lot of superhero movies. You know, we usually get the Batmans and the Spider-Mans. We used to, excuse me. We used to get, you know what I'm saying, like back in the days, they had the Supermans and, you know, they would have like the little TV movies of all the superheroes. But, you know, lately we've been getting a lot of the big production superhero or comic book movies. And the last few efforts that were put together for Superman were kind of, I would say kind of subpar. And, you know, watching those movies, you want to get into it because, like, for me, you know, I'm a huge superhero guy. I'm a huge comic book guy, and I try to get into those movies, like especially with Superman, because like my wife loves Superman, and so that's usually like the movies that we'll watch together. But he wrote the story for Man of Steel, and then he produced the movie Man of Steel, and he kind of took it back to, you know, that excuse me. He kind of took it back to the Christopher Reeves, you know, early movies. He brought General Zod back in that one, and you know, he showed the beginning of Superman being on, well, not actually Superman actually being on the planet, but you know, saying he showed the planet Krypton, them living on Krypton and everything. What happens when Superman gets sent to Earth and all this other stuff. And then, you know, saying like he kind of showed the evolution of Superman from being a child, you know what I'm saying, to eventually being an adult, and then somehow, you know, finding out who he is for real, and then turning into Superman. And so when, you know, you watch the movie, you kind of see, like, you can tell that he's kind of a fan of, you know what I'm saying, comic books and heroes himself, because the way that the movie is shot, the way that the story is, it seems as if it's from a fan's perspective, because it seems like it's not necessarily like verbatim from the comics, but it's real strong within the comics. And to me, I think that's the best Superman movie because not only does, he brings, an original storyline, but when they're doing like the fight scenes are like more logical of superheroes or aliens fighting. It's like if like he punches his opponent and then his opponent goes flying through a building at the speed of light. Like all you see is the dust after he punches him. You don't even really see the punch connect. You just see him swing his arm and like dude goes flying off, and you just see the trail of dust. You know what I mean? Like so, like even when they had the fight scene between him and Zod's lieutenant, like they were fighting like in real time. They weren't fighting like in a slowed down motion. They were fighting in real time. So like if Superman was to run, he'd run like Superman would really run in the movie. So you know what I mean? He really put it into of a more realistic aspect of what superheroes would actually be. You know what I'm saying? Like being on the earth in real life. And to me, I thought that the way he did that movie, Man of Steel, was just so amazing because I was actually captivated by it because I really don't watch Superman movies like that unless my wife makes me, because I can't stand Superman. I think Superman is like the most overrated superhero ever. And so seeing that, I kind of was like, okay, I can get with this Superman. I kind of dig this Superman. And it was just, to me, one of his best movies. I think that was something that he kind of, had that fandom in. And, it's like, you grow up watching the Star Wars franchise all your life, and then you finally get a chance to direct one. You know what I mean? So I think he did his thing with Man of Steel, man. But he got so many accomplishments and accolades, bro. Like, and then like he has a nice streak of I'm not gonna say like superb movies, but he has a nice streak of movies from like 2000 around like 2002 to like now. You know what I mean?
Yeah. And let me be clear. Like what I'm about to mention, he did not do this movie. Mm-hmm. This is just piggybacking off of your Superman point. So he did not do this movie. I just want the people to know, but the only Superman movie I acknowledge is Hollywoodland. I don't know if you ever seen Hollywoodland.
No.
But have you laughing? You laughing because you must have seen. Oh, you haven't. Okay, so Hollywoodland is about George. What's his name? George. It was the guy that played Superman before Christopher Reeves. So it goes way back. Okay. So basically, what Hollywoodland is about.
I just know Christopher Reeves.
It's George something. George Mikan or something like that. He has a mysterious death. Like Superman actually, like, dude, I would honestly. I mean, they would never pick a black person to play Superman, but I wouldn't play Superman. And this is the reason why. So that George guy that played him, because like the movie's a true story. And he was the first person to play Superman on TV. He was like the first person to do it. And the reason it's such a great movie is it's a movie about his death is still kind of, well, I think they solved it as a suicide, but it's kind of a mystery between this girl that he was dating, because some people think that she shot and killed him, and then some people think that he committed suicide. But as right now, it's ruled a suicide. And then so it was so crazy to the world because he was Superman. So like the world was like, what? Superman is dead? We got to tell our kids that Superman is dead. And then the next person to play it is Christopher Reeve. He gets paralyzed. And it's like, how the fuck? So the first Superman supposedly shot himself and killed himself, and then the second person is paralyzed. So, what's his name? Is it Henry Cavill?
Henry Cavill. Henry.
Oh yeah, him.
Cavill, I think it is.
Hey, be on the lookout. But I never been I'm like you. I never been a huge Superman fan. But like I say, that movie don't really have, like, the only time they really even said, because the thing, it was so crazy because like he didn't even want the part. It was played by Ben Affleck was in it. Diane Lane was in it. What's my dude name with the nose? I forget what his name is. But he was like the George dude didn't even want to take it. He thought it was stupid. But then he realized like how important it was to play him. But like I say, him and his girl, they had some issues because like he was sleeping around with a huge director guy's wife. Diane Lane was this director's guy's wife. And he was sleeping around with her while he was seeing somebody else. Robin Turney or whatever, the girl you played in The Craft. She was the girl who that he was dating. Some people think that she was the one who shot him, but like I say, because the way it ended, like the detective guy thought the girl was the one who shot him, but he just couldn't prove it. Mm-hmm. So it is, like I said, this is a true story. Like it really happened. It's called Hollywoodland. But anyway, we'll get back to Christopher Nolan. That was just to piggyback off your Superman stuff. But yeah, and another movie, man, that I felt that was really great. Then look, I didn't know that he did this. I just used to see the movie a lot. Another movie came out around the same time that was similar because they both was about magic. They both was timepieces. But what he did was The Prestige. I didn't know he did The Prestige. And The Prestige was a great movie, man. It was, it had, I think that this is when his relationship started with Kristen Bell. I think even before Batman Begins, if I'm not mistaken. But like Batman Begins came out in 2005 and The Prestige came out in 2006. So back to back with Kristen Bell, and he had Hugh Jackman in it. Even your girl Scarlett Johansson was in it. Yeah, so like it was really crazy, man. And what was so great about it, man, because I do have a little fascination with magic. That's one of the reasons why I love Smoking Aces so much, because I loved all of the little magic scenes. But it was so wild because I wonder, what was great about the script was, I wonder were there dudes that did magic like that would get so obsessed with like, I gotta come up with a new trick, and this new trick gotta be something that people would just go crazy over. And it was like these two dudes, they started out as friends, and then like they both was in the same profession, and then one of them has this move, I think they call it the transfer, not the transformation, but the transporter move. And like, and what it was Hugh Jackman was so obsessed with trying to figure out how does he do this transporter thing, and it ended up getting him killed. But he did not know that the trick wasn't the trick. My man had a twin. So it was like that's the way he was able to do that shit. And it was so crazy when I first seen it. I was like, wow, like that'll be the greatest move to do. Like if you and your brother are like passionate about being musicians, it's like y'all not musicians, but magicians. Like, hey, we're gonna do this move. You gonna go over here, and then I'm gonna come out this door, and all that type of stuff. Hey, dude, The Prestige was a really good movie. Very, very underrated because I don't hear people really talk about this movie.
Well, I think that at the time it came out, it was in contest with, what was the other one? The Illusionist or something like that? Not The Illusionist. The Illusionist.
Yeah, The Illusionist.
It was The Illusionist?
Yeah. With Edward Norton. Yeah.
Yeah. So it was like, you know what I'm saying? It was two magic movies out at the same time. And, people are used to it. At the time, we're used to seeing Christian Bale as Batman and used to seeing Hugh Jackman as Wolverine from the X-Men. And so
that made it really weird. because
Yeah. So
you got to the point that's where you always seen them.
Exactly. So seeing them in a different movie playing a different role is probably like, you know what I'm saying, the least of people's worries. They probably don't want to actually, you know, ruin that image of seeing these actors as something else or doing something else in the midst of, you know what I'm saying, what was going on at the time. But yeah, Prestige was an awesome movie, man. It was one of those things that, you know, you don't expect to see out of a movie about magic. Because it's one of, you know, it's like usually when you got movies about magic, it's like goofy. You know what I mean? It ain't really dramatic. Like what's the one that came out? Now You See Me. You know what I'm saying? Like it's more so like a action packed comedy movie than it is like a serious drama. You know what I'm saying? Or you know what I'm saying? Anything like that. Like I think The Prestige was one of those things. Like the cast, like you said, the cast was crazy. And then, you know, to have those three on film, you know, and especially at the time that they were, you know, like, well, maybe not for Scarlett Johansson, but for Christian Bale and Hugh Jackman at the time, like they were like two of the biggest guys in Hollywood at the time. So for them two to be on the same screen together and, you know, to have that chemistry going and everything like that, I think that was real, you know, that was real good.
But then at the same time to show, because the thing is, there are people out here in the world, like, I think that it's possible for some things to be possible. You know, I could be considered a conspiracy theorist, but like at the same time, they're showing you like, yo, magic is not real, yo. Like,
yeah,
like these motherfuckers coming up with different tools. They're coming up with these. They're showing you. Michael Caine was in this, and like Michael Caine was showing you, like he was the person that was behind the scene that was helping them build the stuff.
Yeah.
For them to come up with these tricks and all of this type of stuff. So like somebody who really believes in magic, like full-heartedly, they would look at the Prestige like, damn, like this shit ain't real. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like all the stuff that they're doing. So it's like he's showing you the behind the scenes stuff of what these people would do, you know, to entertain you. And what it's showing you that all you gotta be is a good showman. Like at the end of the day, like what that movie is showing you is like the competitive nature of dudes that are magicians. But then at the same time, it's showing you the behind the scenes of how you have to be a great showman. You got to be a person that can carry a crowd. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And that's really what that movie did. So it's kind of like to some people, like to adult, like for a kid, it's like telling them that Santa Claus ain't real. And like, this is what this was for an adult. Like, yo, you might have believed in magic all your life. And then you see this movie and you like, oh shit, like that's how they're able to pull that trick off. So I thought that was genius in the fact of putting that, all of that behind the scenes stuff on film and showing that movie the way that they did it. I think Chris is a brilliant dude, man.
100%, man. And it even goes to show you, like, you know what I'm saying, him doing movies like Transcendence, him doing movies like Interstellar, you know, putting, you know, who was it, Matt Damon?
No, Interstellar was Matthew McConaughey.
Matthew McConaughey. Man, to put Matthew McConaughey in space, that's like,
yeah.
He's one of those like wild cards.
And Anne Hathaway was in that joint too. And that's what I'm saying. See, and that's where when we was talking about this whole stuff about them using a lot of like the same actors and stuff. Anne Hathaway, Dark Knight Rises.
Yep. Michael Caine, Christian Bale.
Michael Caine.
I'm trying to think. Did he ever have Ed? I'm about to call him Ed Hardy. What is it? Tom Hardy. Damn, I couldn't get dude's name. Did he ever have Tom Hardy in any movies?
I'm not sure. That might have been one of the first joints he messed with him with that Dark Knight Rises.
Yeah, that was Dark Knight Rises. Now, see, that's interesting, right? for them to pick, and this is one of the big things, like for them to pick Tom Hardy to play Bane, like they
I would tell you this.
Yeah.
All I was gonna say was, now, if I'm not mistaken, he had recently got done doing the Warrior movie. Like he did this MMA movie where he had put some weight on to play this MMA guy. And what was crazy about that role was, like, Tom Hardy was like, he was a very quiet guy. Like it was some shit going on in his life, and like fighting was where he could like kind of release like the stuff or whatever. But when I seen him play Bane, it reminded me a lot of him in that Warrior movie. Okay. If you've never seen it, like it's a sleeper movie. But I feel like him doing that Warrior movie is kind of what got him the Dark Knight Rises movie. I mean, that's just my opinion. I have no idea. I'm just talking from just from things that I see.
Yeah, I'm gonna have to check that out. I didn't know he was in that. I don't even think. I'm trying to think if I ever even heard of the Warrior. I probably have. I have to see the movie poster for it, but his choice for Bane using Tom Hardy and the way that they basically recreated Bane, like, because we only see Bane in a movie.
What the fuck, dude?
What?
Inception. What are we doing?
Oh,
Tom Hardy was in Inception.
I wasn't even about to get into Inception yet.
No, I'm saying, you were saying that he ever used.
Oh, damn, he was in Inception.
Inception.
Damn, but he was like, he didn't have a small role, but like he just had like a weird role in that movie.
Yeah, and he lost a lot of weight.
And okay, so think about this. Joseph Gordon-Levitt, he used him in Inception and used him in Dark Knight Rises.
Yes. Yep.
So, yeah. But I'm trying to think. Where was I? Oh yeah. But using Tom Hardy as Bane and the way that the way he recreated Bane was very interesting, because if you know anything about Bane, Bane is they don't tell you exactly where he's from, but they specify that he has a South American background. So he's supposed to be, and the reason that he's supposed to have like a luchador mask on, you know what I'm saying, like a black tank top, like, you know, how he had on or whatever. But they changed the mask, you know what I'm saying? Like, he's supposed to have like this venom thing that pumps through his body, and he grows and gets bigger and stronger. But we didn't get that in this movie. And if you notice, these Batman movies were more so, they weren't as cartoony as other Batman movies have been. You know, we didn't like he chose the villains that you would probably more than likely see in real life situations. Like the Joker. The Joker was just a menace. You know what I mean? Like Two-Face, a DA that was turned into basically a crime boss. You know, he used the Scarecrow. I forgot what his original name was, a doctor something, but he uses the Scarecrow, who was a doctor beforehand, and he was like using chemicals and everything to try to experiment on people. And then in Dark Knight Rises, he uses Bane. Bane is just a regular average guy who, you know, was trained by Ra's al Ghul, and, you know, like he had Ra's al Ghul in the beginning, but even then, with all the mythos with Ra's al Ghul in the comic books, he made Ra's al Ghul as human as possible. So like all of these characters in the Gotham City or in the Batman universe basically are just being as human as possible. they're not, you know, so like they're not animated or done up like they would be in, you know, like the old Batmans or you know, anything like that. Like we didn't get a Penguin, we didn't get a Mr. Freeze, you know what I mean? Like we didn't get like a Killer Croc, we didn't get a Killer Frost, we didn't get, you know what I'm saying, like the normal villains that you would see. We got just regular. We got to see the villains as regular people, like even Catwoman. Like Catwoman wasn't even Catwoman. Catwoman was basically a girl who was playing a thief. You know what I mean? Like,
yep.
So we, you know what I'm saying? Like he made these movies so relatable to the point to where you kind of forget, like, damn, you know, Batman really goes up against like some tough motherfuckers. But in these movies, it's just like he's a normal billionaire who has access to all these resources, who says, I'm going to take the law into my own hands. He turns into a vigilante, and now he's going around and basically, you know, beating up on poor criminals. But when you know, you don't look at it that way when you're watching the comic books or the old movies. But this one, he kind of made it, you know what I'm saying, a more relatable, more realistic, or he took a more relatable, a more realistic approach to Batman in these three movies, even in the trilogies and everything like that. Now, when we get to Batman versus Superman and we get to like Justice League, that's when he adds in that cartoonish, you know, over the top, dramatic, you know, side effects, special effects, and all that kind of stuff. And you know, I thought it was interesting for him when he did the Dark Knight trilogy to use that, because you know, you don't really get to see like superheroes being on like basically like a human level. And I thought that was very interesting at the approach that he took for that. But that was pretty cool, man. I mean, once again, just another testament of, you know what I'm saying, like just the way this dude's mind, the way this dude's mind works. Like, you know what I'm saying, you just talked about Inception. Like, even though we already did the episode on Inception, you know what I'm saying, you guys can go back and check that episode out, fire episode. Just the fact that he can come up with something like Inception and turn it into as much as a reality as possible. You know, like that was genius to me.
Yeah, and to go back to your Dark Knight point is, you know, his brother actually helped him with the screenplay, Jonathan Nolan. Mm-hmm. So he helped him write that movie. And what I love about it, we did a podcast on this. We did the whole trilogy.
Yeah, we did Dark Knight trilogy too.
But like, I just want to mention that because, you know, I don't want to get too deep in it because we've done it. But just the fact of, I love the story that they chose to use. Like, how many times are we going to see his parents get gunned down in the alley? You know what I'm saying? Exactly. Like, they completely left that out of the story. It's like, dude, like, we're tired of seeing that. Like I honestly wish, I know a lot of people don't. Like, I know Uncle Washington hates not Superman, but Spider-Man. But it's like, I think that he would kill that, because I think that doing what he did with the Dark Knight, by like, everybody knows the story. You know what I'm saying? Like, this will be strictly, this is Spider-Man as actually a man, as an adult, you know what I'm saying, fighting the villains that he have and all that type stuff. And
this is why I had an issue, and I'm glad you said that. This is why I had an issue with the Tobey Maguire Spider-Man. Spider-Man is not an adult. Spider-Man is literally a teenage kid from New York.
He's what?
He's a teenage kid from New York. Like the Spider-Man that they have now in the Marvel universe, that's what Spider-Man is supposed to be like.
Yeah. I mean, I see what you're saying. But I even though it's, because like, I was never in the comic books, so a lot of this stuff was, you know, me picking up a lot of the stuff from the movies, because like, I was naive to understand that Spider-Man and the Amazing Spider-Man was two totally different comic books.
Totally different things, yep.
So, because I just thought that when I saw Andrew Garfield I was like, oh, okay, that's cool. But the thing is, what pissed me off about it was the fact that they still did the. I mean, look, we know it's Spider-Man. We don't have to see him get bit by a spider again. We don't have to see him start sticking to stuff, and you know what I mean.
And we don't have to see him fighting the Hobgoblin every goddamn movie.
Yeah, like, come on, like, move on, yo, move on. I think that this would be great for him to do.
Yeah,
you know,
I agree.
Like this man, this dude, Christopher Nolan, man, he is a genius. Him and his brother, I think it's great that brothers are able to, come in and do things together. Like we was talking beforehand about a movie that's in the future. The Hughes brothers, they was able to work together and do some things. They came out with some great movies. It's nice to see people that can work with a sibling and give you something like The Dark Knight Rises. I mean, The Dark Knight Rises was just, it was one of those. It was one like you said. He went on this run, and even when it comes to, I was never really huge in the Interstellar. I seen it. It was one of those type things. Like I always say, I love the way that he shoots his movies. Like, it's like this darkness to it. Like it's
every movie, bro.
Yeah, it's like they put tint on the lens or something. Like it's just something dark about it, and like that had the same thing. I never really got into Dunkirk. I seen bits and pieces of it, but same motto. Like a lot of the same stuff is going on. And like you said, he went on this run, man, that probably started, like you said, around about 2000, 2002. And he's just giving you hit after hit after hit after hit.
Now,
and
Dunkirk,
I thought
Dunkirk was pretty good, actually.
What was that?
I said Dunkirk was actually pretty good. But like
I seen bits and pieces of it.
Yeah. Like my uncle is he's been in the army for like 32. He's been in the army for probably about 28, 29 years. And like he would always come, like anytime he would come home from, being on tour or having to go, to base or whatever, he would come home and, what I'm saying, like he would have like all these different, trinkets and gifts and all that kind of stuff. But he always, had movies. And he's another person like where a lot of my movie selection comes from. So like, because of him, what I'm saying, I got the chance to see Inglourious Basterds before it came out. He had the DVD of Inglourious Basterds because he was overseas. I got to see a little bit of Dunkirk as well. And with Dunkirk, it's one of those movies that's like, we've seen like movies like Saving Private Ryan. We've seen movies like what's some other war movies? What's the other one? I can't even think of it.
Did you say Saving Private Ryan?
Yeah, Saving. What I'm saying, like we've had these movies to where they show a story of, a guy and he's doing this and somehow he saves the war by doing this and that. With Dunkirk, it was like one of those things to where it was such a detailed account of, what happened during, I believe it was World War II. And, like they were showing like all the different aspects of, what was going on at the time when they were actually in that moment, doing what they were doing in Dunkirk. So it was the way that was shot. That was even shot with the, with the dark grainy, or semi-grainy, filter. What I'm saying? Like it seemed gloomy. It was, real. The music was, real somber. Like just everything about it was, it wasn't sad. It was just like, it just kept you intrigued because you can feel the drama. You can feel the, the awareness, and you can feel the threat when some shit was happening. Like, I just, think the way he did like Dunkirk was great, and to me it just didn't seem like any other war movie that was out.
Yeah, and like you brought up a good point. I was looking at this interview that he did, and he was saying that how he don't like to use like he don't like take songs and just add those songs to his music. I mean, add these songs to his movies. He like to have like his own pretty much original music, and that's why his stuff sound so different. Like the scenes feel more. I don't know. I can't think of the word that I'm looking for, but like the scenes feel different because it's not music that you heard before. It's like it wouldn't be a situation where when we did the 28 minutes or less, I was saying I came on to a lot of music by movies, you know, and like I could see those scenes in my head of the movie that I was watching, and then start listening to the song. This wouldn't be a situation with Christopher Nolan. Like he said that there's times where he wouldn't really get the music for a scene until like after they have already shot like that scene. And then like he got people working on the music during the time as while it's going on. So he's a very interesting dude, man, in the way he looks at it. Like he said that he don't like to just plug in stuff that's already a thing. Like he would never like add a Beatles song to a you know what I'm saying? Scene in a movie. Like he likes, and that's why I used to do it on my older podcast. I don't do it anymore. Back when I used to use the soundboard, I used to love using the Inception sound. And that's that one like sound that would happen when whether it was either there was so many different parts where they used it for, but I used to love it. And then like that that one music that's playing when Joseph Gordon-Levitt was, you remember the scene where they was in the hotel and the gravity was jacked up because the van was falling.
When he was trying to set the bomb?
Yeah, he was trying to round up all of those bodies. And like the music that was playing during that made it so dramatic.
Yeah,
because it was like
kind of got engulfed in it.
Yeah, like you could really feel it. Like dude, like he got to get this right. He's grabbing up these bodies are floating, and he's wrapping them together and pushing them down the hallway, and like the music that was playing, like it got you into it even more, and that just really shows the genius of a Christopher Nolan, man, to make, because music in a movie is very important. Like it is very underrated how important to play the right song at the right time or the right music at the right time. That's just like I told you the first time I heard Freebird. At the end of The Devil's Reject. That was the perfect song for that scene at the end of that movie. And like Christopher Nolan, with using his own original music, that was the perfect music to use while he was rounding up those bodies, man.
Yeah, like that. Like I said, man, that same thing is in Dunkirk. Like the thing about Dunkirk is, it's like it's not a lot of dialogue in it, and the dude that played the Scarecrow in Batman Begins played in Dunkirk, and Tom Hardy was also in Dunkirk. So, like, once again, going back to how producers start using a lot of the people, same.
He was in Inception too.
Yeah, the dude that played Scarecrow.
Yep.
Oh damn, that is right.
Yeah, he's the dude that they planted the seed in his head.
Yeah, damn. That's crazy. I forgot all about that. Yo, he's a different type actor too, because like he was in like a thriller. I forgot what the movie's called, but like he killed it. He's supposed to be like the killer or some shit like that, and he murdered that movie. But that's anyway. So but like with Dunkirk, there's not.
Dude, don't forget about the girl that played Maul In Inception. She was in Dark Knight Rises.
She played Talia.
Yep.
See,
Yep.
there you go.
My bad. But John,
no, that's a good point because, like you said, it goes to show like they build a rapport with these actors, and when they create these movies, it just goes to show why these movies are so good. You know what I mean? Same thing with Scorsese. Like Scorsese, he has a rapport with certain actors, so you know that when they're in that movie, you know that it's going to be a top-notch film. But with Dunkirk, there wasn't a lot of like speaking parts. It's really just a movie full of action. It's a movie full of like it's something happening all the time. And even if it's something not happening, like there's moments of silence where you can still feel like I don't know how he does it, but you can still feel the threat. Like you know something is coming. You know what I'm saying? Like you can feel like something is about to happen in that moment. And even, you know what I'm saying, when he uses his original scores in the movie, you can still it makes it, like you said, it engulfs you in, and now you start to feel like you're a part of the movie. And you know what I mean? Like it just, to me, man, I think that when you can create that type of feeling in a, you know what I'm saying, with a movie, and you can, when you got people or when you have viewers that watch it and they feel like they're in that moment, you know, that one big moment, like I don't know, an airplane's about to come in and bomb, you know what I'm saying, a bunch of guys when they, you know, when they sitting at a base or whatever, like anything like that, like where you could just feel like, oh shit, like what's about to happen, or you know, like you get that edge of your seat feeling. Like, to me, I think that when he does certain movies like Inception, Dunkirk, Transcendence was another one where he made you feel like you were in that, you know what I'm saying, like you were in that world in the movie. Same thing with Interstellar, especially Interstellar. Like it just goes to show you just how good he is as a producer. But my only two gripes, with Christopher Nolan is Batman versus Superman and Justice League.
I'm with you. but me personally, I would add Man of Steel.
Okay.
But I mean, when I watched Batman versus Superman, like I was already, like I went into it feeling away because
I'm trying to think. I don't think he wrote Batman versus Superman though.
I think he was just a producer.
Yeah, I want to say Zack.
Yeah, because it was Zack Snyder.
It
was that. Yeah, he just was a producer on it.
Okay, so
and it was an executive producer.
Yeah, I won't give him too much hell for it.
Yeah, okay, because he wasn't
Zack Snyder directed it, and it was written by Chris Terrio and David Goyer. But to me, man, it was just I think it was more so just the writing and the storyline that made the movie bad, because what they tried to do was they tried to incorporate a storyline from a newer series of comics that recently came out called the New 52. And the New 52 is supposed to be the DC characters in like totally different storylines. Like trying to think what's one that you can do. Well, basically, the Batman versus Superman was a part of the New 52. It's another one with the Green Lantern called I forget what it's called, but it's supposed to be like where all the Green Lanterns come and, you know what I'm saying, get together and create the Green Lantern Corps, and they all live on one planet and all this weird shit. But with Batman versus Superman, it also incorporated, like, it was a video game called Injustice. And in the game Injustice, the Joker somehow turns Superman evil. He kills, I think he somehow makes his way to Metropolis, and he blows up the Daily Bugle, and Lois Lane and I forgot what his name is. I know his last name is Olsen. I think it's Jimmy Olsen, and the rest of the people that Clark Kent is friends with. He blows up the Daily Bugle and he kills them all, right? And then Superman is so stricken with grief that he decides to get revenge on the Joker. But when he gets the revenge on the Joker, he kills the Joker, and then it consumes his body, and then all of a sudden Superman is evil. And so now they have to the rest of the superheroes and villains have to team up to defeat Superman. So they kind of took that storyline, which is once again a part of the New 52, and then they added that in the Batman versus Superman. And it was just one of those things. It was like, to me, it was weird because like they were switching back and forth between Gotham and Metropolis, and then they did something where they were just basically not necessarily where Superman turns evil, but basically where the world would turn on Superman. Like he's fighting somebody, but he crashes into a building, and then the debris from the building kills, a group of kids walking down the street or whatever. So, what I'm saying? Like, just shit like that. Like, it's logical and it's probable if that was like a actual thing that happened in real life. But it's like, he fucking Superman. Like, what do you expect to happen if he punches a dude in the fucking middle of the air? You think this motherfucker gonna land on the cloud? No, he's gonna crash into a fucking building. You know what I mean? Like, what do you think is gonna fucking happen? So for him to for them to come up with this story of, Batman basically is like, well, fuck it, I'm gonna go fight Superman. And then he finds some way to get kryptonite after Lex Luthor finds some way to get kryptonite. And then it's just all this weird shit is just going on. And then like Wonder Woman comes out of nowhere. And then at the end of the whole movie, they're fighting Doomsday. So now it's the death of Superman storyline added into it. And then it's like Batman gets this like super suit. And now he like found all these different ways to utilize kryptonite to fight Superman. But like Superman is still beating the shit out of him. And the kryptonite shit ain't working. So it's just like the only thing that saves Batman from getting his motherfucking skull bashed in is he just says Martha. And then Superman is like, who? What did you say? And he like, Martha. And he like, my mom is Martha. And Batman like, my mom is Martha. And the next thing you know, they best friends and shit. So it's so many different, it's just so much different and stupid shit. Like Lex Luthor creates Doomsday. Doomsday beats the shit out of Superman, kills Superman, but somehow Batman and Wonder Woman kill Doomsday. Like it's the shit is so fucking out of whack. And then it was trash. Like it was a scene in Batman versus Superman where he meets the Flash or some shit like that, and then he touches the Flash, and then he sees a imprint after like opening the door in the back of a big rig. He sees the imprint of Apocalypse in the movie. And it's just like it was just so much different shit, man. It was just everywhere. It was weird.
Oh, that shit was over my fucking head. Cause like I never got in it like that, but like, yeah. But then, dude, I will say this. I don't know why. I do not know why. This is gonna sound stupid as fuck, but Lex Luthor is like the best name ever. Like I don't know why I like that damn name so much.
That's a smooth
like,
name.
Somebody say Lex Luthor, it's like this shit it just sound hard. It just sound hard. And
no, listen,
we was wrong about something.
He might be. Hold on, real quick. He might be the greatest superhero villain of all time, though. Because this motherfucker has no superpowers, but he is the evil version of Batman.
Yeah. From what I seen in that movie. But like we was wrong about something. Because I remember when we was talking about the Dark Knight on the trilogy episode, and I was like, I had a strange feeling that it was in Pittsburgh, and you was like, nah, it's in New York. But I looked it up before we started. They actually shot it in Chicago.
Oh no! I'm talking about the actual. When I was saying New York, I thought you were saying where Gotham was.
Oh, okay. Because I think it's based in New York, but
the movie is shot. Yeah, the movie was shot in Chicago. Yeah.
But dude, just the locations that he uses is very important, and that also goes a long way with a film. Like if you shoot it in the wrong place, it might not look right. But shooting that in Chicago and wherever they shot Inception was brilliant, man. Like this dude has a great mind. I wish we could have been able to talk about Tenet. Neither one of us has seen it yet. So, I heard some things about it. I listened to John David Washington talk to Jamel Hill. And he was saying that this is the first time that he had to learn to talk backwards. And so there's some scenes in that movie where he said that he had to learn how to talk backwards, walk and fight backwards. So it's a lot of stuff that from the way he made it seem like that we're going to see a good bit of stuff in reverse in that movie. That's going to be very interesting because I've never really seen anything like that. Because my whole thing about, okay, you want to talk backwards, so why don't you just rewind the tape? You know what I'm saying? Like rewind.
Nah, I understand why. Because if you just hit the rewind, it's you're not gonna get that same authentic feeling. Like just hitting that rewind button is just like you could tell it's being rewound. But when you got somebody that's acting that out, like you can see that, you know what I'm saying, it's bringing something different in that moment.
And I also think that what this could do is this could open up an avenue for John David Washington with Christopher Nolan. You know what I'm saying?
That would be good.
Yeah, like we might not see the end of Christopher Nolan and John David Washington working together again, because usually the people that play the main characters in like the movies that he do, like we see a lot of them again.
Yep.
So if it's not him, you know, it could be Robert Pattinson or whatever. But I just got a feeling that I don't think we've seen the last of John David Washington.
Man, can we find a way to get rid of Robert Pattinson or whatever dude's last name is?
Dude, I've been trying to get rid of that dude since Twilight, my guy.
Yeah, man. I'm not a big fan of dude.
I will tell you this though. I will say this. He did play in one movie that I hate to admit that I liked. And that was because I had this whole thing with it. Like my ex loved those Twilight shits, man. I was forced to sit there and watch all four of them shits. I thought they was trash. I thought Robert Pattinson was put on this pedestal. I was like, listen, the dude is not that good, all this type of stuff. So I was in my hater mode.
Nor that good looking. He looked sickly.
Yeah. And I'm like, so when I seen the Remember Me movie, I was like, oh shit, this motherfucker Mike can't act. And like it ended up being it was one of those things where it was really a crazy movie, but the end, have you ever watched a movie where the movie was, let's say it was above average, right? And you're watching it, and then the very last scene, you might push that shit up to good.
Oh yeah,
because
is Remember Me the movie about the dead dude?
No. What it was, his dad was this big time businessman, and he was like pretty much like that disappointment child. Like he smoked a lot of drink. He didn't really have a plan. He didn't like when you got that dad that's like this huge businessman, you want your son
super
to
strict.
go to college, you want him to come and take your place at your business. Yeah, but he was like that one kid that not kid, he wasn't a kid, but like he was just well, he was his kid, and he was just like, dude, like his dad is like, why you can't get yourself together? Like, you know what I'm saying? I raised you right. Why you won't just go to college and get this degree and do what I do? And he ended up meeting this girl, and they hit it off. So him and this girl got this great relationship going. You know, they had a little fight or whatever, whatnot. But what made the movie great was he went to see his dad at where he worked, but his dad wasn't there yet. And this is what made it great. They show him looking out of a window, right? And then all of a sudden, the camera zooms out. He's in the fucking World Trade Center right before the plane crashed into it. Yo, I was like, are you kidding me? I mean, it completely threw me off. It was like above average, and that shit just made it good to me because I was like, that's why it's called Remember Me.
Oh.
And it's because he ended up dying in the World Trade Center when the planes crashed into it. And I was like,
damn.
That shit was wild. But I mean, it came out of nowhere. I had no idea. Like, that's what that movie, because that was one of those type of movies where I didn't watch a trailer or anything. It was just one of those I'll take a shot on it. And then, like, I kind of didn't want to watch it because it had him in it. I was like, I can't sit around and just be like, I'm going to watch nothing. I mean, look, this ain't got nothing to do with glittering fucking vampires. So I was like, I'll give this shit a shot. But it ended up being a pretty good movie. But like I said, like the ending made that shit fire to me because I was like, I had no idea that was coming. And like I got this little thing with the World Trade Centers, man. Like, you know, so that's what ended up making that a pretty good movie.
Yeah. I mean, you know, but Nolan, man, it's just besides Batman versus Superman and Justice League, like I don't really see him doing anything that was bad or like that was a horrible movie or anything like that. Like I think that all of his movies are very thought-provoking and and you can tell that he is one of those guys that developed a style. And I think that's very important for producers, directors to have that when they're creating these movies, because that lets you know, like, you know, it's like a engineer or a producer in music. You know, the greats always have some type of signature. You know, Pharrell got the four beats thing that he does. You know, when every beat starts up, and then, you know, with Christopher Nolan, you know, it's going to be a thought-provoking movie, but it got this like gloom. I'm not saying the right word. I'm saying glum feel to it. You know what I mean? And I think that with that, like, he uses that, and I think that's what really also brings you in, you know, and it keeps you in that trance to where you get the feeling, you know, as if that you're standing right beside the main character or you're standing right beside the actors in these scenes, you know, because it has that you know, that glum appeal to it.
But let's be clear to the people, though. He wasn't a writer or a director of those two movies. He was just an executive producer. Right. So, I mean, he still get credit for them, but he didn't write them or produce or direct them. But man, I would like to say you came up with a great idea as far as the Fire Flame, because I mean, we can't give a person a Fire Flame.
Right.
And you were saying like our favorite movie. For me is for the Dark Knight trilogies to be there for me to say what I'm about to say, as far as like saying the word the phrase hands down, for me, it's easy. Hands down, Inception. Like, he wrote it, he directed it, he produced it. Like, Inception is just to me, we got an idea of, I'm not going to give it away. I'm going to tell you that it's going to be a possibility to look out for Inception when we do our top 5 movies of all time. Coming up here soon. It's one of my favorite movies. Like, Inception was something that I've never seen before. Like, a lot of movies, it's either if it's not a remake, it's something similar.
Damn near like a carbon copy.
This, I've never seen. I've never seen nothing like literally nothing like it. It was like a brand new idea, and it seems like you don't get a lot of that in 2010. So for me, Inception, I love the way it was shot. The cast was great. Just everything about that movie was really, really good, man. So that is my favorite Christopher Nolan movie to this point.
For me, man, like I said, I'm gonna stick with Man of Steel. Like, being a comic book guy and being a superhero guy, somewhat of a nerd, man. Like, just for him to bring the realism into these movies, I think is something that, for me is super interesting, because you can, well, for me at least, I could tell like he wants to make this, and maybe the word relatable is not the word that I'm looking for, but I'm gonna use it anyway. But he wants to make these movies as relatable as possible. Like, you're familiar with Superman, you're familiar with Batman, you're familiar with all the superheroes, but the fact that, in the beginning of Man of Steel, we see that Superman is basically an alien. He comes from a different planet. He's coming from outer space. He lands. He shows from when he's a kid to when he's an adult, and being raised by 2 human parents who show him unconditional love and really help him get acclimated into living on Earth. And excuse me. Him showing, like, when Superman was young, him having to deal with his powers, in a way like, a kid would. Like, if you had superpowers at 12 and you can see, through walls, or, you can lift shit up that's, 10 times your weight, like, that shit would freak you the fuck out. So for me to see, him having a young actor play Superman, as a kid, and go through those things, and, getting bullied for it. It's those things that you expect to happen in real life. It's those things that you would know that would happen in real life. And so to see him then grow up and, go through the small little shit that he goes through, and then ends up becoming like he ends up becoming like the savior of Earth in a way, and, still trying to live that double life of being Superman and Clark Kent. And just the way he, like I said, just the way he put all of that together, to me, was just genius, man. So I'm going to ride with Man of Steel.
I feel nothing wrong with that. Yo, this is the thing. I am like really, really, really excited about this next one.
Yes, sir.
Like, I've been talking about this movie ever since it came out. And I will reveal this shit. Like, this movie, fuck the suspense. This movie is in my top 5 of all time.
Oh shit.
This movie is in my top 5. Like, yes. Like, that's how much I love this film. This film, it was great. It's a timepiece. It's based on a true story, based on true events. I have seen. Well, they made a movie a year or two before this one came out. So I seen that one. It was cool. I've listened to a podcast about this movie. I've watched 2 or 3 different documentaries on it. Not the movie, but the actual real life stuff about it.
Yeah.
Like, I'm just fascinated by it. And like, for me, when I think about cinema, like a lot of the times, like a lot of the movies that I really like are like timepieces and like true stories. Like that's really my shit. Like stuff that could is actually real. Or like that's just like, for instance, this ain't got nothing to do with nothing. But last night I was watching. I don't know if you ever seen it. Have you ever seen a movie called Monster? Charlize Theron in it. Christina Ricci.
Yeah.
It's about like, dude. First and foremost, I've never in my life thought that what's her name, Charlize Theron, could be unattractive.
Will ever be able to play a role like that.
Not only play that role, but to be unattractive. She was literally, this was like the only time I did not want to.
Yeah.
Like that was crazy. It was crazy.
Yeah.
But I bring that up to say, like, that's based on a true story. That was a real woman. Like, this woman really died on death row. And, like, for us to be doing a movie that's based on a true story, there's a whole bunch of factual stuff that you could look up. Like, what I love to do with stuff like this is you can actually, like, all you got to do is type in such and such real people, and you can sit there and you can look up the real people. You can see what the real people look like. You can read, like, that's the stuff that makes, for me, this type of movie so great, is being able to go down this rabbit hole of seeing the real characters and all of this type of stuff, dude. I'm rambling now, and dude, I'm gonna, like, just don't get upset with me next episode, man, because I'm gonna rambling.
Listen, I'm excited to do this episode with you, but I'm gonna tell you what though, what you literally just said is what happened to me watching this movie. Like, I didn't know that this movie was based on those actual events. I thought it was something different when I first bought it. I thought it was like some some birthday shit. Like it was based on, it's like a motherfucking birthday or something like that, right? And so when I started watching it, you know what I'm saying, because of the title. So I'm like, when I started watching it, I'm thinking it's like a scary movie, that motherfuckers on their birthday, something happened or whatever. So when I get to watching it, I'm like, oh, that's what this shit is about. Like, okay, I heard this. And then now, like you said, as the movie playing and shit, I'm Googling and I'm looking up on my phone to see what happened. Then I'm pausing the movie and going on my phone and, typing up where did this happen then and da-da-da-da. So yeah, I think this is one of those things, and only because of the way that the lead actor was, he did such a great job. I think that's what also made me want to learn more about it and do more research about it as well.
Yeah, and so, the reason
this next movie is gonna be the shit.
The reason I knew what it was about, because I never heard of the event, the true life stuff. But one of them, the one we're talking about, came out in 2007, but they did one in 2005. So I seen the one in 2005. So when I seen like the previews and seen the actors, the people that they was able to get for the 2007 version, I'm like, yo, I gotta see that. And then I seen it, hook. Like, this movie's almost 3 hours, and I could sit there and watch it like all the time. Like, this is that movie where I don't care what time of day it is. If I see it, I'm clicking on it and I'm watching it.
But see, this is so like I said, I knew of the events because as anybody that done listen to this podcast done figured out by now. Like I used to hang around my grandma a lot, both of them actually. I used to hang around my grandparents a lot. So, listening to them and having conversations with them, like, that's how I found out about the events. because they also told me about, other people in that field. So, that's why Mindhunters was so intriguing to me. You know what I'm saying? Because of the people that they had in there, and what I'm saying, the stuff that they was doing. So yeah, this is one of those movies, man, that if you haven't seen this one, the next episode, tune in. If you haven't seen it though, definitely make sure you watch it before you listen to the podcast, because you are going to be lost as hell if you do not. You are going to have no idea what the fuck we're talking about when we get to going. So once you find out about it, pause the podcast, watch the movie, come back to the podcast, and then, give us a good listen, and then, you can kind of see where we at.
Yes, sir, man. I am super excited to do this one, man. But all I got, man, like I said, I just did episode 187. You came up with a great idea. That's why I say, like, when I come up with ideas, like, it's always something to spark it. It could be a word, it could be a phrase, or anything like that. And I was mentioning to you on the 28 Minutes or Less podcast, I was like, we coming up on episode 187 of the Stolen Time podcast. And you was like, I know you and Uncle Washington about to murder that. And I was like, I didn't even think about that. And now I'm all in my own zone because of the name. I ended up naming that episode Red Rum. For the people that don't know, Red Rum is murder spelled in reverse. So go check out that episode, man. Red Rum of the Stolen Time podcast, man. You can go to the Stolen Time podcast page on Facebook. It's on all major platforms. I'm still having an issue. I still haven't heard back from Apple yet. So so if you're a new listener and you're not already subscribed to the Stolen Time podcast, like I say, it's on Spotify. It's on Google Play. It's on iHeart. I mean, it's everywhere else. Check out the Stolen Time. I'm at the 28 Minutes or Less podcast. The last episode was me and Scoots Bronson and Casey. So we did the music episodes. Go check that out. Also, Stolen Time Pod on Instagram, S.Foster8 on Instagram and Twitter. And make sure you check out that VA Podcast Watch Group page on Facebook.
That's right, man. Make sure not only just to check it out, but make sure you add yourself in there, like the page as well, please. But we tell you guys every episode, man, we're trying to get up to 100 members in the group. Once we get to at least 100 members in the group, man, we're going to start doing live watch parties. And, I think that's going to be fire, to be able to, interact with the listeners, to be able to, hear, see, or not hear, but see them chatting back and forth, us chatting back and forth with them getting to see us, or them getting to watch the movies with us as we review them before we do the pod and stuff like that. So, yeah, man, it's just, we want to bring you guys as much content as possible, and we want to give you guys great content as well. But for me, man, check me out on Twitter at Scoots Bronson. Check me out on Instagram, ScootsBronson_TV. Check me out on YouTube, Scoots Bronson TV. You can check out my podcast, 15 Minutes of Fame. It's on all major podcast platforms. Make sure you subscribe to this podcast first and foremost. And then I got a new episode of 15 Minutes of Fame coming out very soon. It's with my guy S. Foster and Casey as well. So, what I'm saying? We got to get that together and make sure we finish that one out, man, so we can get that popping. And then I'm trying to think, man. What else? Oh, Isolated Society. I didn't do an episode this week because of all my ailments. I've been down and out, but, I'm going to get back. And it was a short sports week, so I didn't want to really talk too much about anything, bad things been going on, especially with my Browns. So I was just kind of backing off. I think I kind of jinxed them with the last episode I did, so I kind of skipped this week. But outside of that, man, you guys make sure you share this podcast with a friend. If you love movies, man, thank you. Thank you for listening. If you got friends that like movies, make sure you add them in as well, man. Share the wealth. That's all we can ask for.
Yes, sir.
So that's all you got, man?
That's all I got, man. I'm just hyped about. Like I'm hyped about this next episode, man. Like, dude, I am ready for it, man. Like, look, I ain't gonna have no problem going back and rewatching this.
Hell no, man.
Because I do it all the time anyway.
These next two episodes we got coming up, bro. Listen, it's gonna be we might have to do like 2-hour pods on these.
Hey, it can easily go that long. Yeah. I can go all day. I can go all day. Like
these next 2 episodes are gonna be some long pods. So we are going to give you guys every drip drop of what we have. So y'all keep going, man. Once again, thank you all for listening. We appreciate you. Please make sure you share. Make sure you go to the VA podcast group on Facebook. Make sure you like it. Make sure you join. Make sure, I don't want. What is it? You don't join. You ask for an invite or something like that, or you add yourself or something.
Ask for an invite.
So it is join the group, man. You know what I'm saying? We want to be able to contact you guys and engage with you guys and see what kind of movies y'all like. You know what I'm saying? Y'all might like the same movies we like, or y'all might be putting us on too. So make sure y'all do that, man. We really, really appreciate it. And with that being said, man, like they say in the grand old Hollywood, it's a wrap.
Cut.